Welcome back to Convox Academy. In this video, we'll walk through how to create and deploy an application using the Convox CLI. We'll cover application deployment from the Convox console in another Academy video. Now that we have our rack set up and CLI connected, let's go over how applications are deployed. Convox uses a convox YAML file, which is a manifest that defines the configuration for your application and its infrastructure requirements. If you're familiar with Docker Compose, you'll notice that the convox YAML has a very similar structure. Let's take a look at an example convox YAML to show some of the available features. Here, you can see how the manifest defines things like application environment variables, resources such as Postgres, MySQL, Redis, and Memcached, service configurations, and service level timers. This example showcases the flexibility and customizability of the Convox YAML file, but for this video, we'll keep things simple. We'll be deploying a basic Node.js application that I've already cloned from the Convox examples repository. The repository is available on GitHub if you'd like to follow along. Let's take a look at the Convox YAML we'll be using for this demo, along with the Docker file and the basic JavaScript code for the application. As you can see, it doesn't take much to get an application configured, but there are a wide range of features and configuration options at your disposal. First, we'll create the application by running the command convox apps create node.js. This command creates the app, but without any code. It's essentially a namespace for the application within the rack, setting up a space where all the app's resources and services will run. You can see that the application will also appear in the Convox console. Now we can deploy our code with the command convox deploy. You can specify the application name by using the -a app name flag. If no app name is specified, the name of your active directory will be used. This flag is useful if you're managing multiple applications within a single rack. Convox deploys the application by packaging your local code and uploading it to the cluster. Depending on your rack configuration, this build process can either occur on an independent build node or on the main cluster nodes. Once the image is built, it's securely stored in your cloud services container registry such as ECR. You can also automate deployment and review pipelines directly from your own private repositories with Convox source integrations and workflows, which will be covered in a later video. After running the deploy, the application will take a few moments to spin up. Now that the deployment has completed, let's check on it. First, we'll run the command convox apps to view the status of all of the apps within the rack. Next, we'll run the command convox services. Since we're in the project directory node.js, which is the app's name, we don't need to specify the app name using the -a flag. This command will display the automatically created service URL. I'll copy and paste this URL into a browser to show the running Node.js Hello World app. You can also find this service URL within the Convox console by selecting the app. One of the great things about Convox is that it automatically generates a valid SSL certificate for your services using Let's Encrypt. By default, Convox handles SSL certificate generation via HTTP 01 and email validation methods. If you specify a custom domain attribute for your service in the Convox YAML, Convox will automatically generate and validate an SSL certificate using Let's Encrypt's default HTTP 01 challenge. During this process, you may also receive an email for domain ownership verification. That's it for creating and deploying an application with the Convox CLI. In this video, we covered how to define your application using the Convox YAML file, create an app with the command convox apps create, and deploy your code to the rack using the command convox deploy. We also demonstrated checking the deployment with the command convox services and how Convox automatically manages SSL certificates for your service. In our next videos, we'll be covering how to create and deploy applications directly from the Convox console, and how to integrate automated CI/CD pipelines using deployment and review workflows. Stay tuned for more.